Frontalis suspension is a commonly used surgery that is indicated in patients with blepharoptosis with poor LPS muscle action, 4 mm or less. Now, the clinical conditions where it can be used is congenital ptosis with poor LPS action, and in acquired ptosis where there are conditions like blepharoptosis, cases secondary to CPEO, muscular dystrophy, third-lump palsy, myasthenia gravis, epineuritic ptosis in elderly patient. The technique is based on connecting the tarsal plate to the eyebrow with the various sling materials. Based on multiple cutaneous stab incisions at the level of the tarsus and the eyebrow through which the sling material is passed in a suborbicularis plane. The goals of the ptosis have been covered. Just to rectify again, this is to achieve a clear visual axis, increase the superior field of vision, create or enhance the symmetry in the primary position, elevate the upper eyelid to an appropriate level, set a proper eyelid contour, establish and maintain a proper eyelid crease and fold, and to preserve eye protective mechanisms. The material used have been, a variety of materials have been used in the past, historically, and we have just heard Dr. Mukesh about autogenous facial lata, how it's a gold standard. Though I used to use it long time back, but I've given up because it's too time consuming and under GA, so by the time I do one facial lata, I could do 2 or 3 cases during that time. And of course it is technically more demanding, and also in case the patient needs correction, it's difficult to pass the needle, the silicone rod, because there's a lot of adhesion scarring inside. So that causes an impedance in passage of the needle. Synthetic sutures have been used, but the current most favorable one is the silicone rods. We can see at the bottom the silicone rods. Now basically silicone, it's a 1 mm solid silicone rod, and it's ideal for patients requiring frontalis suspension who are at risk for post-operative exposure keratopathy. Patients likely to need post-operative eyelid adjustment in cases of CPO, third-lump palsy, and myasthenia gravis. So preoperative counseling is an important aspect of the entire process of surgical correction. Patients need to be informed about the nature of surgery and the post-operative outcome, the post-operative sequelae like lid lag and lack of thalamus, complications of surgery, risk associated with anesthesia, and if ptotic lid is associated with contralateral lid retraction, elevate the ptotic lid and drop of the other lid means the same may occur post-op. A written informed consent is taken, and here is the skin scratch incisions and stab incisions on the eyebrow and the brow are made, and this is a small video. This is my technique. I just elevate the lid by putting a calipers at with a particular width, and then I mark my the forehead. Incision is a pocket is created by whitening it. The needle is given a curve, and I start from the superiormost, the center stab incision. From there I go medially, and then similarly on the lid. I give very small incisions, and I prefer to tie the suture to the tarsus to prevent any slippage. And this is a sleeve which is being tightened, and on the table the contour and the height is taken care of. This, the ends of the suture are buried in the pocket created. There are 2 techniques of tying the sleeve, how to fixate them. I prefer the top one, where I feel it's easier to adjust it in case of readjustment required. I had as a child unilateral ptosis, and this is the correction we have achieved in the early post-op. We always try to aim for a slight overcorrection so that with the time when it slips down, it could look near to the other eye. Here is a patient with bilateral ptosis, and silicone rod has been used, and we have got a fairly good symmetrical correction in this patient. The advantages of the silicone rod is that it can be used for patients who are at risk for corneal exposure, like Bell's phenomena, CPO. So when we have counseled the patient preoperatively and the patient develops some exposure, then we can go either loosen the sling or we can remove the sling in some cases. Elasticity allows better eyelid closure and less lack of thallus compared to other materials. The ease of adjustment, I think this is the biggest advantage. The ease of adjustment to original mid-forehead incision allows for the lid height to be lowered if exposure can be with the others. And lack of integration into the surrounding tissues, the silicone rod is easily removed if it's no longer required. Post-op complications are there, and but they are there for other surgeries as well. Under correction, this can be easily corrected by opening the pro incision and tightening the ends within the sleeve. Over correction, this also can be easily corrected by loosening the sling within the sleeve. Slippage of the sling and can be taken care by anchoring it to the tarsus. I have seen 2 cases of a breakage where one patient, when we removed the sling, I found it to be broken below the sleeve. So probably there was an inadvertent nick of the needle into the sling material. So we have to take care that whenever we are anchoring it or we are passing the needle nearby, we should not be touching the rod. That has to be taken care of. And lack of thallus, exposure keratitis. Here again, this can be tackled by adjusting. Lash ptosis again occurs if it is very low on the inferior incisions are given. And here we can see 2 patients here with a severe lack of thallus and here with an exposed suture. Now this suture can be, exposed suture could have been taken care by burying it deep into the tissues and suturing the skin and muscle properly. Coming to the conclusion, sling surgery with silicone rod is simple, fast and predictable. Most of the complications are avoidable and manageable without leaving any serious sequelae. Best results are achieved when lid height is adjusted in the primary position. Now there is a word of caution here. When we are doing the surgery under general anesthesia, the eyeball has gone up, it has rolled up. So we have to make sure that the eye is in the primary position by comparing to the position of the other eye. And then adjust the lid height. Because what happens when the patient is light, the eyeball would come down. When the patient is deep, the eyeball would roll up. So these things have to be adjusting under the GA is a very important aspect. Thank you.